Welcome to day 6 of the Centenary Manx Grand Prix, the final qualifying session in the classic superbike class, one that's been dominated by Michael Dunlop with 126 mile an hour lap. He's not here today. That jeopardy that we were talking about with his bike, will it or won't it? Well, it didn't today. They're either saving it for race day or there's something bigger happening with that bike. You don't really want to listen to me talking for too long. What you've actually come for is the chance for me to take you as close as you can possibly get to Michael Rutter, who's heading this session off on the big XR69. And when I finish talking, he's going to start riding. He's just about to get the tap on the shoulder. That's it from me. And everything from him.
So today's 2 qualifying sessions and the lightweight race were unfortunately cancelled within minutes of Rutter opening the day up on the XR69. Rain stopped playing. Yes, disappointing, but there's always plenty to see and a stack of interesting people to catch up with. With some of the tech pieces and interviews that I've done at both the TT and here at the Manx Grand Prix, I try and do as much research beforehand as I can. And in others, it's nice to just find out as you go along. That's exactly what this piece is going to be. I'm sat with Paul Cassidy, a guy that I've heard loads about across the paddock all week. And it turns out you're the guy that wears the sweet Steve Hislop replica Arai that I've been looking at all week as well.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Nice to meet you, Paul.
How you doing?
I've heard you can talk as well.
I don't mind talking.
This should be a really easy one for me.
Yeah.
Why don't we stick with the Hizzy theme? We've come up to the Hizzy Memorial, overlooking the bay. You know, they've just cancelled the running for the day because of the weather, but
yeah,
we're saying now it feels like we should be out there riding around.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you say, you know, we're all here looking at the sunshine now, but who would want that job of calling that situation?
No, thank you.
Nobody. And, you know, at the end of the day, the marshals are sitting there, stuck up the mountain, and the last place you want to be is there,
yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's a hard decision, and he's made it, and we just got to get on with it.
Yeah. I know you're running a pretty special 400 Yamaha. We'll get to that in a minute. What else are you running this week?
We're also running a Kawasaki ZXR 750. We've had a lot of problems with that, to be honest with you. We had the carburettor blew off going down Braille one day, then the day after we had the head gasket blow, and we've also had landed at Bluff Bridge, and we cracked the manifold. That got welded, and this morning we got to St John's before it started raining.
Yep.
And then what happened there? The gearbox went in it. Couldn't get 6th gear, pulled over, and then it wouldn't come into sort of 1st or 2nd gear.
Wow,
so
that's not very. How far is St John's from the start? Not very far
I
at
think
all.
it's only like 5 minutes away, isn't it?
So probably the first time you went for 6th.
Yeah.
And it wasn't there.
Just wasn't there. No.
So it's on the dyno right now, or
basically no. The boys have now got it. Now it's at the unit. They'll take the engine out of it, replace the gearbox, and hopefully get it going ready for the race on Monday.
So talk me into your career here at the Manx Grand Prix. When did it start?
My career started last year as a newcomer. So I was Manx Grand Prix newcomer, and yeah, I enjoyed it there, to be honest with you. I think we did 115, 116s, and then we went to TT this year. We did, I think, 119 standing start on the R6, and we did, I think, a 115 on the Super Twin.
Yeah.
That got us 13th at TT. More than happy with that. We know we need a little bit more power to progress a little bit more now, but yeah, it's been good. And then obviously we've come back here again to get more laps and keep progressing.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear, and this bit is probably where I'm gonna get it wrong slightly. I think, did you loan that twin to Dave Rigby to run as a newcomer this year? Is that that bike?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's the same bike I used at TT. We had the engine out, it's been refreshed, and obviously now they've allowed the newcomers to run 2 bikes. So Rigby's running a 600 and he's running our Super Twin.
Yeah.
Which
it's going really well as well.
It's going very well for you. It's good now. Like I was talking to one of the boys, you know, the newcomers, and they did 7 laps yesterday. You know, we were lucky if we did half a lap or a lap, 2 laps. I think in total I did 9 laps.
Yeah.
Last year, so it's going to be a cracking race come Monday with all that, you know, as well.
And I've only just realised in the last kind of hour or so that Island Fuels, which is one of the companies that I've seen loads of over here is you. You are Mr. Island Fuels.
Yeah.
I think one of the guys on the camera was saying to me, it's an interesting approach that you've taken to finding the funding for racing, where instead of chasing sponsors,
Yeah.
you started a business with the sole intention of bankrolling your
To
race.
try and fund the hobby at the end of the day. Yeah, in the climate we're in at the moment, and especially when it kicked in, 3 years ago, you know, with COVID and all that sort of stuff. So I originally was meant to do the Manx about 4 or 5 years ago, and then COVID kicked in, and the bikes were sat there for nearly 2 years. And you know, it was a brand new R6, freshly built, and yeah, I just thought, well, what can I do here to sort this job out? So ended up selling the bikes, sold my van, sold everything, put it into the business.
What trade were you before you started?
I was actually doing the same job for another company on the
okay.
Yeah, so that's how I sort of got into it, you know, just do something you know, rather than try and invent the wheel, as they say. So yeah, that's how it started, and then it's hard to get sort of sponsorship, you know, yeah, friends will help you out, 100 quid here, 100 quid there, but to do this, you know, like our tyre bill, this for the Manx Grand Prix is about £3,000.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What's the fuel bill like?
Mr. To be honest with you, my fuel's actually been quite cheap, because I haven't got very far on the big bike yet.
Yeah.
And the 400, that uses quite a bit. We're finding that that's using about 8.5 litres a lap on the 400.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it should normally be used, and everyone seems to think about 6 litres.
Okay. And let's talk about that 400 then. It's the bike that caught my eye this week because it's got Steve Hislop written on the screen.
Yeah, it's a very interesting bike. Like it's you know, it is a good piece of kit.
Yeah.
The stuff that on it does make it stand out massively compared to, you know, the other sort of standard 400. It's owned by David Green, Green's Racing, and he kindly said to me, do you want to ride this at the Manx this year? I jumped at the chance. You know, I was actually building my own 400, so that got put on the back bench. And yeah.
Were you going for a Yamaha as well? Just to clear that up, it's an FZR 400.
Yeah.
RR?
RR, is it SP or
RR,
something?
SP,
Something like that. I was actually going to be running a Kawasaki.
Yeah.
So we had that built almost ready to go, new engine put in it and everything. But yeah, the opportunity to ride that and the history behind it and the 100th anniversary was a no-brainer for me.
So it's a Pucker X Steve Hislop 400.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, the bits that are on it, you know, everyone's saying you can't buy a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Even the exhaust system on it, you know, it is a beautiful piece of kit when you take the clothes off it.
Yeah.
And have a good look around it. Yeah.
And he would have raced that here in the year he won on the Big Norton in '92 then?
1992, that's correct, or 91, be around about there.
How have you ended up back on that? Where's it been? Where did it go after that?
I don't know, it's been on the Isle of Man, it's been owned by a couple of people, but I know one fella that he came to me in the paddock and he said he built it originally. And then obviously they must have rode it. And then he came in, seen us in the paddock and was telling me the history of it and stuff like that. And then Mr. Green only bought it start the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't touched anything on it, so we haven't even touched the suspension, nothing at all.
Well, it's as he wheeled it out the truck?
It's as Mr. Green gave it me, yeah. Yeah. I'm guessing from the previous rider who rode it. I know he has rode it a couple of times at the Manx Grand Prix, but where he's come on it, I don't know.
Yeah. What about your lap time? Because I think when I was on the radio the other night, you ran really well on it. Was it a 104?
109 is the fastest. 109.2 something is what we've done. I think the lap record's 109.6. So we're there.
So the Manx, the 400cc lap record at the Manx Grand Prix is
109.64, I think.
And you've done a
109.2.
Oh.
So
you're on for it then?
Hopefully,
you're
yeah.
out of fuel as well.
The first.
I don't mean to keep bringing this back to fuel with business and how you're funding it, but you did run out of fuel.
Yeah, we did. We did. To be honest with you, it had a 17-litre tank on it, and we were told it would manage the 2 laps. So we brimmed it. We did 1 flying lap, and then coming down after the Craig, tipped in on the right-hand side, and it just started coughing and spluttering. I thought, there's something wrong with it. Got it sat back up. Yeah, it ran sweet as a nut in straight line, and then coming into the nuke, it was coughing and spluttering over Glen Cutchery Road there. Just before we got to the finish line, it died. There was not a litre left in it. Yeah, I had to push it in.
So a twofold question, this one then. Big bike or little bike, 400 or ZXR, and then classic superbikes, which effectively they both are, or the new stuff here on the mountain course. Take your pick. On a good day, on a much better day than this.
On a good day, do you know what? The most enjoyable I've had is on the 400. Just for the fact is, you can ride around it. I feel like I'm trying harder on the 400.
Yeah.
But carrying the corner speed. But yeah, on the bigger bike, it's obviously quicker, but it's more intense. You know, the bumps and the stuff like that. But The big bike seems to be set a lot harder to the little bike, and the little bike's that soft. It's weird. Yeah, it just seems to soak everything up. So maybe I'm going the wrong way with the bigger bikes. I need to be softening everything off like the little bike.
I think Brian McCormack was talking about doing exactly that the other night.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird sort of track, isn't it? You know, you get onto the mountain and it's short circuit. It's nice, it's lovely up there, and obviously then from Ginger Hall to Ramsey's rattling your teeth out. And
you must spend pretty much, I wouldn't want to guess the percentage, but on a 400 I would imagine, I don't know, 80% of that lap is absolutely on the stop. Yeah,
I'd say you're pretty much right. You come from sort of the start line, you get to, you know, you're at Quarterbridge, you come down there, and then once you get to Braddon Bridge, out from Uni Mills all the way out, it's pinned, it's not rolled. You know, you're looking at the revs are sitting at 12, 14, and even like you roll onto the side of the tyre, you just see the revs go up, and then you try and get it back down again, and you're just constantly looking at the revs, just not to over rev it. I've just been trying to look after it, to be honest with you. I haven't done many laps on it. I think we've only done 3-4 laps on it. Happy enough with that. Park it up, keep the mileage off it, and hopefully she'll last.
And what's the deal with the Hislop helmet then? Is that because of the bike, or?
No.
Would you have worn that this year anyway?
Yeah, I had that for TT.
Yeah.
So I got that for TT. I've always been sort of a fan of the Hislop helmet, and it's, you know, it's pink, it stands out, everybody notices it, even on the roads, you know, everyone sitting in the hedge, the first thing you see is the helmet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's just a cracking design.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you know, as iconic and memorable as that 92 big bike race was, there's a fair chance that if your 400 was the bike that he rode in the 400 race that year, it might have played a part in helping him get his eye in, keep his laps up. You know,
all helps.
Definitely all helps.
As many laps as you can get around here, all helps. You're always learning. Every corner you learn something new.
Yeah.
You know, it changes. It seems to change every lap.
And speaking of help, I think it's really honourable to see somebody helping somebody else out like you're doing with Dave.
Yeah.
Especially in a newcomer year when we did a piece with him earlier this week, and it's not that everybody that we talk to feels like they all need more help, but clearly he's not. You know, he's not swimming in cash. He's not chucking money at everything that he's doing. Yeah. So to see you step up and give him another bike, it's a really nice.
People have helped me along the way. You know, like even now, you know, Green giving me that bike to ride.
Yeah.
And if I can help somebody else, I will do. You know, that's the sort of person I am, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that probably wouldn't help people in the paddock just because they see it as competition.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll help anybody.
I think that's, I'm going to make this up, I think that's the spirit of the Manx right there, Paul. It's always good to meet new guys and learn something new. Thanks very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Appreciate it.
And so to history. Today I'm going to talk about money and the cost of living. In 1955, the Manx Motorcycle Club paid out £6,227 to lay on the races. In modern money that equates to £134,195. A figure that I'm reliably informed is actually missing a couple of zeros from what it actually costs to lay on the racing nowadays. To put that figure into context, back in 1955, if you wanted to buy yourself a road-going version of the 500cc Norton, it cost you about 216 quid. By now, the lap record, by the way, is at 93 miles an hour. Take a wander down the prom in 55 and it'll cost you 10 pence for a pint of beer. When all was said and done, and the pennies have been counted, the 1955 Manx Grand Prix races had made a total profit of 7 quid, or in modern money, about £150. When they say that racing isn't about the money, they really do mean it at the Manx. By 1957, the Manx Grand Prix had reached critical mass. In fact, I'm calling that year peak Manx Grand Prix for the 50s. It was the first year we saw our first Manx double, when Alum Holmes from Castletown won both races on a Norton. It was also the first year that they decided they'd have to run a newcomers race. Entrants had got so big, there were 380 entrants in 1957, 118 of them from first-timers. Clearly newcomers causing a bit of a stir at the Manx Grand Prix is not a modern phenomenon. Well, we can make the races, but unfortunately we can't make the weather. Hopefully, this time tomorrow, I'll be dodging bubbly as it sprays down from that podium behind me. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm sure you've already subscribed across all of our social channels. We are at Manx Grand Prix. Tomorrow, we go again.